Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris.
And I'm Robert.
And we managed to survive LEGO Masters Season 4, Episode 2, barely. I think we barely survived.
I think it was just barely survived. And in fact, I feel like most of this episode we thought we weren't going to survive. I don't know if they showed in the episode, but they're pretty freaking, I was pretty explicit during filming that I was like,
We're going
home, man.
So, dialing it back a bit, these videos are kind of just fun discussions where each of us want to be able to talk about the build process, talk about like how it was like putting the build together, building techniques we used, kind of our thought process going into it, and we want to do this for each of the episodes that we are on the show. You can check out our episode 1 coverage linked in the description below. I also have a playlist for all of the LEGO Masters stuff, so you can check that out if you want. Okay, so for episode 2, what do we make?
We made the Abode of Fire and Ice.
But I think before we jump into our conversations about this, because we have a lot to say about this build, this was a crazy build. But before we get started, let's take a look at a recap of what we built for LEGO Masters, Episode 2, The Abode of Fire and Ice. I'd like to start by introducing you to a dear friend of ours, Sir Fluffington, who is not just a cat. Much like you or me, he's an onion. We'll get back to that. But first, I'd like to invite you into the humble abode of our feline friend. Much like myself, Sir Fluffington has varied interests and is passionate about a wide gamut of things. He loves to explore in the snow and ice, but when he gets too chilly, he also loves curling up in front of a nice, warm fire. This dichotomy of fire and ice is the core tenet of our build today, where Sir Fluffington can explore and play to his heart's content out in the snow and ice, but when he's tired and ready for a hearty fish meal in front of the fire, he simply needs to walk down into his house, perhaps with the fresh prey in his grasp. That brings us to the other personality traits of our feline friend. He projects a cold and aloof exterior and prefers to be alone. That's why his house is perfect for him in many ways, as it represents both the physical and metaphysical aspects of his personality. On the outside, he has hung up a large sign reading "Gone Fishing," suggesting to other cats that he is not home, when in actuality, he is enjoying his solitude on the rug that reads "Fluff." But on a deeper level, this build is not just a home, it is an onion. Much like Sir Fluffington himself, it has layers. Cold, bristly, adventurous, and icy on the outside, but warm and fuzzy on the inside.
The Brickmasters challenged us last week to up our color game and bring in even more creativity, and we took that to heart in forming this build. Exterior, icy whites and blues transition into the hardy brown shades of warmth of the fire, and we had the chance to bring in some fun with our massive, big fish above the fireplace, an icon and warning to any who dare disturb Sir Fluffington. For our play feature, we wanted to go big. After having the chance to interact with our friend and figure out what he liked playing with best, we realized he loved human interaction and abstract string movement. And so, we built that into our mountain structure, where a remote-controlled ball of snow and ice tempts Sir Fluffington from above. But we didn't want to stop there. And if there was a major play feature in the snow, we also wanted one by the fire. And so after an exciting day of ice fishing and catching, Sir Fluffington can relax by the light of the spitting fire and enjoy a bite of fish on the table to eat, some still flopping. Of course, Sir Fluffington can be very active if he wants to and has the right motivation. So, on the right side of our build, we've arranged an array of platforms and parkour-style climbing shelves complete with dangling snow so Sir Fluffington can climb to his heart's content, complete with a cat-proof, flexible, and tuggable string.
But yeah, wow. I'm gonna be completely honest. This episode I had pulled together, we had pulled an all-nighter beforehand.
Yes.
Prepping. Like, just preparing for the build. Because I think after episode 1, we realized we had a lot of work to do in order to just become better builders working as a team, and then like also just like building techniques and building quickly. So we literally got I think we got 0 hours of sleep. My mental state just deteriorates. I think I literally just like, I think most of this episode I was just like insane. I do not remember almost anything. You're gonna need to do most of the talking here, man, because I do not remember. Like, we worked in a startup together, and so we're used to pulling a lot of all-nighters. But like, I don't like when I pull an all-nighter like 2 in a row or 3 in a row. I will just lose memory of what happened. So I don't why don't you tell them about the build? Because I don't remember anything.
Sure. So, the build was to build a house for a cat. In the first episode, we had some problem with getting the story across.
Yeah.
It's very crowded. There's a lot of stuff we stuffed in the build that honestly we shouldn't have. It just made things too complicated.
Yeah.
The second episode, I feel like we almost had to do that, and not by choice. Because we had to, first of all, build a build for a cat.
Yes.
So this build had to be...
I remember one part of this, but keep going. I
Yes,
still have the scar. Look.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Anyway, go on. I'll explain this one. Yeah.
Yes. So this build, it was like we had to serve 3 customers, right? So customer 1 was the actual cat, which, cats, they're cute. They're not, they're not actually the personality that whatever the show gave them. So we had to build it for that actual cat, right? Yeah. We had to figure out what are things that
this cat will
this cat, Sir Fluffington,
as a living
will actually
object,
as a living thing would actually enjoy and interact with.
Right.
Number 2, we had to have a build that satisfied and was built towards the cat's personality.
There was a list of cat personalities that we had to literally run to and grab to decide what to build. So it's like, okay, this cat likes the underwater. This cat likes the ice. This cat likes the beach, or so I don't remember. Well, I do remember the one that I wanted, and the one that we both wanted was there was one that said this cat likes fish tanks and the ocean and underwater, and I was like, okay, that's super fun to do.
Yeah.
Building underwater mocks is really fun, and I was like, okay, yeah, we can easily do that. And so what happened was that I sprinted forwards and I was going for the underwater one, and then Chad Jordan ripped out his cat claws and swiped it, and in the process gouged my so I was bleeding.
The medic had to come out and give you a bandage.
Yeah, the medic appeared, was you good? Listen, Jordan, he's a fellow Seattleite, we're homies, but wow, he was dead set on that underwater theme. Respect. He knew what he wanted, and he listen.
Fair competition.
He took it. So I was like, oh shoot, what am I gonna get now? I wanted to get the underwater one and so many ideas. I turned and I saw there was Sir Fluffington's character card, which said he likes the winter and he likes snow. And I was like, okay, we could go for a little bit of a snowy, Ninjago Neverrealm, Frozen style landscape here. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the snow one without reading the rest of the card, mind you. I only saw the snow and I was like, okay, done. And we got the card and I bring it over and it's he likes the snow, but he also likes cuddling in front of a warm fire. And he's also aloof.
Yes.
And we were like, oh wait, now we have to actually come up with something kind of different that has multiple things. Yeah. So anyway, that was customer number 2, as you were saying.
Customer number 2 was, and customer number 2 is a complicated customer too, because he likes both the fire and he likes
ice.
Both the ice.
Yeah.
So okay, that's already many different concepts to make. We have to make something a real cat likes. We have to make something that Sir Fluffington likes.
Yeah.
And then of course we had to build something that the judges like, Jamie and Amy like.
Yeah.
So these were a lot of very different personalities with different judging criteria.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, how are we gonna actually build something that meets all of this?
I think the thing that we decided on was some sort of a circular, almost Viking-style fortress. If those of you are familiar with the Viking fortress set from 2006, was kind of this round fortress. I was like, we could do something like a round fortress where it's icy with spikes on the outside. So almost like a frozen castle, ice spikes on the outside, and then a wooden, warm interior with fire crackling on the inside. Yeah. And it's almost and again, it said the cat's personality was aloof. So I was like, okay, this is a bastion. It's oh yeah.
Yeah.
We wasted a lot of time building that iceberg and not using it. Right? We didn't use it. We did not use it. We did not use that.
No.
Put together, yeah.
No, we did it. Yeah.
We were like, okay, the cat is aloof, so maybe the cat, Sir Fluffington, wants to be situated on an iceberg kind of floating in the middle of the ocean. So we said, okay, we'll build a studs on the side, flat iceberg, and then build our castle on top of it and make it a gigantic circular, almost Colosseum-like castle.
Right.
Why didn't we do that?
I think we didn't do that because, honestly, I don't think we had enough time. And also, a big issue was if it was fully enclosed, then you can't really see inside. And also, how would a cat even fit inside? It's just not even logistically possible.
Yeah.
And so we really had to open things up a bit. So we didn't really build a house. We almost built a one side diorama.
I would say we built like a Lego playset.
Yeah.
Like that's probably the best way of describing it, where it's like, this is like a giant version of a Lego set that's like literally a facade of like just almost like we had some 2D backgrounds and stuff of just, we had the interior of the house and the exterior being snowy.
Yes.
Which was kind of a weird setup. I think it's safe to say this was our worst build.
I think this was our worst
I did not like this build.
I didn't like this
honestly.
build.
Yeah. I was not having a fun. Anyway.
Yeah.
By this point, I had gotten no sleep. So all I could say, I think I was just like, big fish, big fish, big fish. Oh, yes. We wanted to make a big icon in front of the thing. And so I was like, Robert, we need to make a big fish. And he's like, what are you doing? Big fish. And he was like, big fish.
I think honestly, the big fish should be way taller than this. It sticks up above this.
That was, I think I was losing it, but I think we kept evolving the build for this based on feedback, and then just like changing our minds. I don't even remember what was like the process of putting this together.
Yeah, so we originally, our original core play feature was basically having this table with a bunch of fish flopping up and down on it.
Oh my god, I spent so much time on that.
Yes, and so, because like, at the very beginning, we were like playing with a cat, and it's like, what does the cat like?
Like, do some A/B testing with the cat to figure out what the cat liked.
And so, like, the original plan was actually, like, underscoped in the sense that we really just had a center table, a fireplace, and some nice icy walls. And that was it.
Yeah.
But then, the judges came over, and then the cat was there as well. And then the cat started, like, flailing around with his hands. And I was like, what? And so Jamie and Amy were like, the cat's really active. You have a really active cat. What are you gonna do about that? And we're like, I don't know.
And the platforms.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, oh, you guys should build some platforms so that Sir Fluffington can climb up and down. He seems like a really active cat. And we're like, this wasn't part of our plan at all.
Well, this wasn't.
In episode 1, we screwed up. We didn't include the party. Our fault. But in episode 2, the cat has like 2 personalities. And we're like, oh my god, cat. Who is this? And
it's
so
like split.
We had to basically switch plans immediately. So instead of just ice walls, we had to stick platforms on the ice walls. And mind you, those platforms had to hold a living, breathing cat and not collapse.
So what I focused on at that point was making strong and rigid platforms out of Technic that looked ugly. I mean, you can see it in the episode. They did not look bad. Like, they were like base plates upside, bro. And you were getting worried. You were like, oh, the cat's paws are gonna hurt if it steps on. But the cat did not care. Like, the cat did not give a single
because they were like, they don't like anti-studs, and so and then everything like you built was like all of that. It was so spiky.
The thing that we were doing was, okay, let's take this for example. We were worried that the cat would not want to step on a studded surface.
Yes.
Because like maybe like no one wants to step on a Lego brick. So we were like, okay, maybe he doesn't want to step on this. So we didn't want to take the time to tile it over because that's too much time. So I was like, I'll just flip it around and the cat can step on anti-studs. But you thought it was
I thought to be fair, I thought it was weird because anti-studs are spiky. Studs are like round and rounded and smooth.
You like step on that. That's like pretty smooth.
I don't know. I feel like if I would rather press my finger on the top than the bottom.
Maybe.
Anyway, so
it was too late by then.
Yeah, it was too late.
I built a ton of platforms, and then you were working on the inside, the fireplace.
Yes.
And we had a play feature in the fireplace we didn't even show off in the episode.
Correct. So
we used the good old
BTS fireplace, and so instead of people spinning around, we had flames spinning around the fireplace. There was gears and everything. It was ready to go,
and we just
never hooked it up. We didn't have time. Yeah. I mean, we did.
No, we had time because I was screwing around putting like signs up for the last hour.
That is true. Chris, what were you doing?
Wait, why didn't we?
We'll get to that. We will get to that. But
I was anti-cooking. They did not like. Anyway, go.
But like, it was like halfway or even more than halfway through the challenge, and we did not have a build at all. We basically had a table, we had a pillar of a fireplace, and then we had Chris's
disjointed ice
Disjointed
platform.
ice
And then you
platform.
made other ice platforms using a completely different building technique.
Ah, yeah. So it was like halfway through the challenge.
Yeah.
And, like, we didn't really have anything. It was like we
We
had
had 3 disjointed, like...
disjointed, pretty ugly things. Like we had like this pillar of a fireplace, and the top of the fireplace was like just these red, yellow, orange bricks. And it was just hella ugly. And we had a table. Admittedly, the table looked really nice. I will say.
I cooked on the
mechanism-
table
you cooked on
because
the
I was
table.
still awake when I built the table.
Yes.
I built the
That was
table
the first thing you did.
Yeah, and then it was downhill from there. For
And then
me.
we had like this ice platform that Chris cooked together that looked like some kind of like prison torture device.
Prison tour. I know you and your like Minecraft ice block tower.
Yes.
Well, what was that?
Yeah, and so at this point, like, I don't know, like, it's, at this point, I thought we were going home. Chris was somewhat psychotic.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, I was like, okay, we need another side to the ice thing. I didn't totally believe that Chris's Technic structure would hold up the cat. And so I built like these Minecraft blocks of ice that looked like stairs that would then, the cat can then climb on top of. And so I think we had 4 hours left, 3 hours left, and we were basically, like, we basically had a fireplace, two very sus ice climbing structures, and a table. It looked awful.
Oh, it was so we were, I think I was less than useless at that point. I just remember Robert just kept saying, dude, we're going home. We're going home. We're going home. Like he would, like I've never, we worked on a startup together. Like that was high stress.
Yeah.
I've never seen him this stressed. Like that was nothing compared to this. So then you had an idea of the floor and backdrop, which you actually saved us this build. So
Yeah,
tell them about
thanks.
this. Like
I think like the thing, yeah. So we need something to tie the story together because right now we had 4 very disjointed things, and so you know, how do we tie the story together? First of all, let's make a floor in front that embed the table inside, put the fireplace at the back, put the walls on the side, so that we can at least have almost a diorama that the cat can stand on. It looks like a nice wooden floor with a fireplace behind it, nice and wholesome. And I think like once we put that floor together and like had things shaped around it, the floor fit perfectly.
oh yeah.
It started to come together in my head. And
Started.
I was like, maybe there's hope here. Maybe there's hope here. And I think the thing that really put it through the finish line was like the backdrop. Basically,
Yes.
like, okay, how do we tell the story that like this is a home in the middle and like, ice and isolation on the outside. And I was like, okay, why don't we put just like almost like a theater like backdrop where the middle we can have like just a 2D house.
Yeah, like a
Windows.
Hollywood backdrop.
Literally a Hollywood backdrop.
Yeah.
Like 2D house in the middle, some windows lit with yellow, and on the sides some mountains and ice.
Yeah.
And that actually like tied things together quite well. And I think that pretty much came together in the last hour even, and it was
Yeah.
close, but like
So what was I doing in the last? The Bionicle ride.
Yeah.
Yo! Okay. Let
Yes.
me explain.
yes.
So at this point in the episode, I think I still thought we were going home. I thought we're getting eliminated. And I was like, oh my god, I'm never going to hear the end of it from you all if Duck Bricks was on LEGO Masters and didn't incorporate a Bionicle themed build into one of the builds. Well, at this point it was too late to make it Bionicle themed, but I was like, okay, I can at least sneak in a reference. And mind you, I was running on 3 all-nighters in a row, so I was like sleep-addled brain, but do you remember what the reference was?
It was like the Gone Fishing song.
Yes! Gone Fishing. So like probably all the Bionicle fans in the audience right now are like, what is he on? Like what is he talking about? Comment down below if you're at this point in the video and you're a Bionicle fan and you know what I was referencing when I made my Gone Fishing sign. But anyways, if you've played the Modanui online game, it was an Adobe Flash game from 2001 that introduced you to the Bionicle lore and world, and at some point, like late in the game, the treacherous Matoran Akmau he flees Pokoro, and he closes down his store, and he puts up a sign with the Matoran alphabet text on it, and if you translate that sign, it says Gone Fishing. Now, probably the most hardcore Bionicle fans right now are like, what is he talking about? But for like the one person out there who knows exactly what I'm talking about, that one was for you. So I was like, okay, we have the big fish. It's an icon of the build. All right, I'll put up a gone fishing sign, and here's how it goes into the story. It says our cat is aloof. So he's put up the gone fishing sign to tell other people to go away. Yeah. So he's not bothered. Like, he's like, I don't want to be bothered. Like, I'm gone, I'm out fishing. Don't bother me.
Yeah.
So it served a dual purpose. But all I could say was like, the Bionicle reference, gone fishing. I don't know. That's what my brain came up with at that point. Meanwhile, you were working on the floor and the backdrop. And the final thing that we did to tie it together was the custom motor thing. You want to talk about the motor, the dangling string?
So this was all your idea. We were like, okay, we have a motor function, which is just like the fish flopping on the table. But like, that was about it. And so we were like, okay, what else can we do? And so Chris had the brilliant idea of slapping some Technic together.
The most robust Technic structure.
Like putting a snowball up, like on a chain. We tugged on it. It was quite strong, very robust.
I cooked.
We just stuck it onto our build, and we're like, oh, this is an interactive feature. In fact, we didn't hook it up to any intelligent motor. It is human controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, not because we didn't have time or we're lazy.
No.
But because, cats like that random, unexpected movement. And actually,
the cat really liked it.
Really liked it.
As you can see in the episode.
Yeah.
So what we did is I was literally behind my back. I was like, I had the powered up remote control, and I was like, like I was hitting the remote. And so it was swinging randomly. The cat was swatting at it. And that was our interactive main feature. I don't think the cat cared about the flopping fish at all, which I spent so much time on. Like, I had the fish flopping. I had the fish actually going. It didn't care. It cared about the string. So I'm glad it interacted with that. But, oh my goodness, that was... What an episode. I'm surprised we weren't in the bottom. I thought we were going to be in the bottom, too,
I thought we were in the bottom, too, as well. But I think that in the final moments, the build came together.
Because the backdrop and the floor.
I think the colors were... decent.
It had a cool color scheme. Yeah. It was very colorful.
It was very messy. It looked like an amusement park. And the cat also was really interactive. So, because of your beautiful crane. So, that probably saved us. But yeah, it was a stress fest, man.
What I remember is the final hour of the build, you were finishing up the backdrop. And I was like, oh, we gotta get the Bionicle reference in. So I put up the gone fishing sign. And then my sleep-addled brain was like, oh, we need, it's not clear this is his house. So I'm gonna build a sign that says home and slap that on. And I was like, oh, wait, but we have the ice on the outside and the home on the inside. There's no transition. So I'm gonna make archways that the cat can't fit through. But like just archways to show that like, okay, it's a divider between the home and the icy part, which the cat immediately knocked over. It was I don't think it was a good, it was probably, I think, our weakest build.
Probably.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know what we were doing. But it was a good learning experience, and I think looking back, it was a fun time. Well, that about sums up our coverage, and then stay tuned to Fox next Thursday for LEGO Masters Season 4, Episode 3.